Hi friends, Caitlin here with Sass and Stitch Crochet, and today I'll be walking you through a join as you go method for a solid motif. In this instance, I'm using solid granny squares from my Choose Your Adventure Cardi, which is a pattern from my crochet book. This method creates a really solid and nearly seamless join. If you take a closer look, you can tell that it's kind of got a twisted effect in between the squares that are joined. But when you look at the whole cardigan from further away, you can't even see that detail. It looks very seamless. It's also a very sturdy join. If you pull up on the seams, it doesn't come apart at all. It just has the natural stretch that your yarn already has. So I highly recommend this method for joining any kind of motif together. So I have one square that's completely done with 3 rounds. And my next one, I've done all but the last round. So I have 2 rounds on this blue one, and this is what I'm going to be attaching to. So I'll be working the 3rd round as you're attaching the 2 squares together. So if you have a motif like this where you are finished with a round in the middle of the round, not on a corner, you first need to get yourself to a corner. So I'm going to go ahead and work my pattern instructions just along the first part of this side until I get to the corner. I'm not sharing the specifics of the pattern instructions for the square just because that is in the pattern and that's most likely where you're already coming from. But if you happen to just be watching this for a join as you go tutorial, this method can be used on any type of motif with any stitch pattern. So I've gotten to the corner and I'm going to go ahead and do my corner chaining, which in this case I'm doing just a chain 1. And then I'll go ahead and bring my previously made square over. We're going to attach these 2 sides together. So I've done my chain 1 at the corner, or you might have a chain 2 if that's what you're doing for your motif. And I'm going to remove my hook and insert my finger in through the loop so I don't lose that loop. This just acts as a placeholder. Then I'm going to take my finished square and I'm going to locate any chain corner space. And I'll insert my hook from top to bottom, right through the corner. Then I'll put that blue loop back on my hook. And I'm going to pull that loop through my gold square. Okay, now I'm going to work the next stitch on my blue square. So I'm at the start of this next side here, and I'm going to work my next stitch, which in this case is a half double crochet into the corner. I'll just work that as normal. And now I'm going to loosen up that loop, insert my finger and remove the hook again. Now on this gold square, now it can get a little bit tricky because they're not attached yet, so it just looks a little bit lopsided. But you want to locate the first stitch along the side that you are attaching to. So here's my first stitch here. I'm going to insert from top to bottom, then put that blue loop back on my hook and pull that loop through the gold square. Now I'll do the next stitch of my blue square. So I'm doing another half double crochet because that's what my pattern instructions are. Loosen up that loop, hold it with your finger, remove your hook, and remember we're attaching those 2 sides together. Sometimes they can get a little bit twisted when you don't have enough stitches yet, so just kind of make sure you're keeping an eye on what side you're working into in these beginning stitches. Now you'll find the next stitch along your gold square, insert from top to bottom, put that blue loop back on your hook and pull it through the gold square. You're going to continue doing this all the way across the sides that you are attaching. So you'll work a stitch on your current square, and then you'll go to your previous square and pull that loop through the next stitch. I'll do one more with you. I'm working a stitch on my current square, remove my hook, find the next stitch, and pull it through the square. And you can see how it's already coming together. You can see that twisted effect along those stitches. So keep doing this all the way across this row. I'll meet you back when we reach the corner again. Okay, so I've just worked my last stitch on my blue square. I haven't pulled it into my gold square yet. So I'm going to show you here because it's a little bit tricky. There's a chain one corner, and there's one last loop right before the corner, right here. This is the last stitch on the gold square. So I still need to pull my loop through. Okay, and now I'm going to do my chain one, which is what I usually do at my corners. I've got these two sides nice and secure together. I'm going to chain one, and we're not going to do anything with the last corner space on the gold square. We're just going to move right along into finishing the rest of this blue square as normal. There's nothing more that you need to do to join the two together. So I'm just continuing around. I'm going to complete my blue square in a moment. So I'm going to work all the way around until I join my square, but you can see here that your two squares are now completely and securely joined together. Now I'm going to show you how to attach to two different squares within the same square, basically attaching two sides of a square. So it starts off the same as I just showed you. I've worked until I'm at my chain one corner, and I'll be working from right across down to the left and down because I'm right-handed. If you're left-handed, you'll be working from left to right and down. So I'm going to go ahead and find my chain one corner on my first square. And again, I'm not showing you this part super slow because I did just show you this part. I just wanted to show you what it looks before I start. And then I'm going to meet you at the corner at the end of this square. Okay, so I've just worked the last stitch on my gold square, and I've already pulled it through my blue square. Now I'm going to chain one at my corner like normal, and I'm not going to do anything else with my blue square. I'm done. I'm going to ignore the chain one space there. And I'm going to move on to my teal square, which is the next square that I'm attaching to on the next side. And we're going to start it the same just like we did before. We're going to locate the chain one corner of the teal square, insert from top to bottom, pull that gold loop through from that chain one, and there you have it. You'll just continue on joining the gold and the teal squares the same way. So there's nothing fancy with the corners, nothing extra to secure them. You're just going to move from one square right to the other on that chain one corner. You can go ahead and continue attaching these two sides together and then finishing out the round of your gold square. And there you have it. That is the join as you go method for a solid motif. Now you might notice these look just a little bit wombly-jawed, a little bit off, a little bit misaligned. That is completely normal. Mine obviously look exactly like that too. When you put it in the grand scheme of your project, like this cardigan or let's say a blanket, that effect will go away. You won't notice it at all. It just kind of gets lost into the big picture of the project. All right, thanks so much for watching. If you want to find this pattern, the Choose Your Adventure Cardi, you can find it in my book, and I have an order link in the description box below. Make sure you subscribe for more techniques like this.